people have come to this conclusion that the Freemasons are behind everything. And then, we can lead into Masonry in movies as well, because that raises the question, too, why would there be so many Masonic symbols in movies if it wasn't really as influential as people are saying it is?
Well, right. I think a lot of it is the holdover from the William Morgan affair, because this was when the William Morgan affair happened. This was when a lot of people in America realized that there was this secret cabal. I mean, this was really going on, of Freemasons who were pulling strings behind the scene. This was with DeWitt Clinton, a former governor of New York, who was, in a nutshell, using the higher degrees of Freemasonry as a political tool, as a political vehicle to influence and formulate policy over state lines. The high degree, the Blue Lodges, the Grand Lodges are only, the state Grand Lodges only oversee the Blue Lodges. The higher degrees were a way for men to interact with each other over state lines, and of course DeWitt Clinton was doing this with this higher degree system, and he was doing it behind closed doors. Now, he would have told you this was for the benefit of the country. He was trying to work with, he was surrounded by Federalists, but DeWitt Clinton himself was a Jeffersonian Republican. So DeWitt Clinton would have seen this as a positive, that basically he was trying to use Freemasonry as a vehicle or as a tool to have men work together to put their political and religious differences aside for the betterment of society. However, when the William Morgan affair hit, it was viewed as incredibly negative, and a lot of this is still holdover today. And again, when you get into some of the architecture, things like Washington, D.C., which is clearly Masonic, people see this and think this is evidence of this overvast, arching conspiracy, to run the show, where it's the opposite. These guys are just using the tools, the symbols of Freemasonry to nation build, for lack of a better word, is the best way to describe it. But again, it was influential. The American people learned, after the Morgan affair, that there was this, sort of secret higher degree Masonic cabal, and you will without doubt, this is definitely an illuministic, incursion upon the government, where you were working behind closed doors over state line to formulate political policy. I mean, there you have it. But, this was basically, after the Morgan affair, this was completely eradicated, but a lot of people still think it goes on. And again, people see the esoteric architecture, the astral architecture, and again, see this as this evidence of this vast conspiracy where these guys who were doing it were just basically incorporating in stone the teachings of Freemasonry.
What would you say is the biggest teaching of Freemasonry? What is it that people join these secret societies for?
Well, it's a tough question to answer, because the truth be told, it varies from Mason to Mason. It's really a sort of an individualistic, subjective question. I think, and I certainly don't want to put words in anyone's mouth when I say this, is I think the purpose, initially I would say, of the Blue Lodge is sort of to undergo what you would call a symbolic death, and to be reawakened, with your, quote unquote, divine sparklet. This is echoing themes of Gnosticism, where at this point now you've undergone this symbolic death. You have been reawakened, and now are symbolically or allegorically equipped to go into the world.
Hold right there, Robert. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to get into the Masonic symbolism in cinema right on the other side. We'll be right back. All right, Robert, I want to change gears and get into the Freemasonic symbolism in cinema. Before we do that, though, I want to ask you, did you run into any obstacles or pitfalls, or were there any strange guys in black who showed up at your door and said, hey, you shouldn't look into this kind of information. This is something secret. You're not supposed to talk about it.
With what book? Which one?
The Arch of Enoch.
No. I have not encountered any negative resistance. Most of the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. I have had a few naysayers, but that's to be expected. I mean, that's life. I'm not totally naive, of course. really, to make a, I know you want to get into this other stuff, but just let me say this real fast. In a nutshell, if you're a Mason and you're writing a book on Freemasonry, its histories, its symbols, that's acceptable. I mean, that's allowed to do. You're allowed to do that. Otherwise we wouldn't have books about it. What is frowned upon is they don't want you writing down, or they don't want you giving away what are called sort of the core secrets, which are like the handshakes, the passwords, the passcripts, things like that. The tokens of recognition is what they're called. I do not get into any of that in the book. There are a couple times, now to be fair and balanced, where there is a secret word I have to write down, or at least try to mention. I just write the initials down. There's no way to avoid it. But by and large, if you're writing a history book, or about the philosophy, the symbols, things like that, that's okay. It's they don't want you giving away the passwords, the tokens, the handshakes, the grips, what are called signs of recognition, to make a long story real short.
Okay. Let me ask you, are you part of a fraternity or a fraternal order?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Freemason.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah. I am a third degree Mason of Amicable St. John's Lodge number 25 in Baltimore, Maryland. I became a Master Mason in 1997. I am a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, Valley of Baltimore, Orient of Maryland. I've been that since 1999, and I was a member of a college fraternity house as well.
I did not realize that. So let me ask you this then. I have been considering going down to the lodge. That's not too far from here, because I would want to join Freemasonry, because I would want to know the knowledge that they've been safeguarding, and I'd want to find the spiritual information that I feel can benefit me, and
right.
That has been hidden or safeguarded, or however you want to look at it. However, I'm concerned that in this day and age that Freemasonry has become a bake sale organization and a way for people to network with each other. I've heard that from a few different people, but I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly, if you can still achieve the true spirit of Freemasonry in 2014 in the modern day lodges.
Well, it's a subjective question. A lot of what you have going on in the lodges up until recently was just basically memorization of the ritual, and it was almost that they didn't even know what they were doing the ritual for. It's one of those things, when I went through it, I was not armed. I was with a little bit, but I was not armed with the knowledge that I am now. So I understand what's going on and what's supposed to be going on. But really, if you're going into it, it's the old line. It's the Albert Pike line. The ritual is designed to conceal, not reveal. And what he's telling you is that, just by going through the ritual, you may not experience some sort of divine enlightenment or anything like that. It's really, it's kind of, you'll go through the ritual, but then it's kind of up to you to take what's learned and explore it. And unfortunately, most Masons do not do that. As far as networking goes, it can serve as that. I have used it on a very limited basis. I haven't done anything nefarious to it or anything, but, you'll meet people in different walks of life with different trades and things like that. And, it's not anything where if you, kill somebody and there's a judge, they're going to let you off or anything like that. But, certainly if, you might get a plumber at a discounted price or something like that. I know when I was a lawyer, after I became admitted to the Maryland bar, I wanted to join the federal court here in downtown Baltimore. One of the members in my lodge was a Mason and was a member on the was a member of the bar in the federal court, and he recommended me just as a reference. Things like that can happen. It happened for me at any rate. But I think that by and large, and again, it's such a subjective question because it can vary from Mason to Mason. But I would say that, up until around 10, 11 years ago, a lot of the people, like I said, there was this distancing of the Masonic Lodge from its esoteric tradition, and this was a holdover from the Morgan affair. And it survived up until around 10, 12, even maybe 15 years ago, where people who were joining, myself included, I filled out the petition in, this would have been the summer of 96, so good God, almost 20 years ago now. The motivating factor of joining was community service or, a family tradition, which would have been my case. But now that, like I said, the pendulum is swinging where thanks to the internet, Dan Brown, where this information is much more now readily available, you will have people joining it definitely interested in the esoteric side of the craft. So, again, it's an individual thing, but, it seems to me at any rate that the pendulum is definitely swinging back towards the esoteric, occult, quote unquote, side of things.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency